Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad and today is sweet tea time. For those new to the channel, this is when Brad just talks about the market, whatever's on his mind, and anything else that might come along. So sit back, grab your sweet tea, and hopefully you get a little bit of nuggets out of this because it's fun to put together, but it's all about the nuggets, and that's gold nuggets. You get it? Gold. Because I'm a big fan of Parker up in the Yukon. Maybe we'll talk about that. So anyway, I've talked about so many times about the market correction and how far it needs to go down before Brad has to even think about a JOB. So maybe I'm going to show you a graph. So this is the SPY graph. The green line, the green line, the market needs to open, not go down over time, but needs to open tomorrow at the green line before Brad has to get a job. Hopefully that just visualizes everything in a nutshell. The market has to drop to the green line before Brad even thinks about getting a job. Tomorrow morning. I mean, literally, it has to open tomorrow morning. It can't drop over time. It has to open tomorrow morning. So hopefully that explains why Brad is not in a panic about a downturn. And that's why Brad has structured his accounts the way that he did, because you now see where that green line is and where the market is. I'm not worried. Not worried. It's not opening there. It's not going to open there tomorrow. I'd like horse racing. I'd like to bet the ponies, and I will bet the ponies that it's not going to open tomorrow morning at the green line. May open down a little bit, but it's not opening up that green line. Okay, moving on. That's why you don't panic. When you build your accounts, understand what you're getting into, and if I had chosen a different fund that didn't pay the rate that mine pay, because I'm in SPY, then that green line gets farther and farther up. The difference is mine will take longer to recover and yours will recover faster, but that green line's important, and maybe I'll draw those out for everybody for different funds so you can see exactly how far each one of these funds have to drop before Brad, in the way that he's structured, would have to go get a job, because that's important. Next one, hey, you know what? Your retirement age is 67. Life expectancy is 78. So you worked 50 years to enjoy 11. And let's face it, you're hopefully those 11 years, you're even mobile to get around to actually enjoy things. So guess what? Enjoy life now. Brad is 57. I had to think about it. Born in 1967. So there you go. Do the math. I think I'm right. Didn't even check it. You know you're getting old. Literally, you know you're getting old when you have to think about the year you're born and start doing the back math, because after a while, you just stop adding. It's just, anyway, you're not guaranteed tomorrow. So think about retirement when you can, or doing something that you enjoy, because trust me, I'm not in retirement. I'm doing YouTube videos. I'm doing something I enjoy. Yeah, it pays me a couple dollars, but it's definitely not my retirement. But it's giving me something to do, and I get to do it when I want to do it. Yes, that's the most important thing. So the next one, okay. So my Canadian friends. So when Canada becomes part of the United States, I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I'm sorry, Canadian friends. But where do you rank? So GDP, hey, you're only fourth for the whole country. GDP per capita, man, you're down on all the way down at the bottom. College degrees, obviously they're very well educated in Canada. I didn't think about that one. Life expectancy, hey, maybe you moved to Canada so you can live longer. That's surprising. Yeah, I'm gonna move to Canada because I can grab a couple more years of my life. Yeah, nice. Homicide rate, nice. It's down low. That's always a good thing. The next one we get into is trade with the United States. Looks like Canada trades a lot with the United States, and it looks like Mexico trades a lot with the United States. And you can see where China is so far down compared, so you sit back and go, so maybe, maybe we should just annex Canada and Mexico. That solves all the problems. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Does not solve the problems. That's not a problem solver. But I just thought I'd throw it out for conversation. I'm sure I'm going to get a hate comment from somebody down below because annexing Canada. Oh, by the way, I heard Greenland was up for sale again. It's not up for sale. You just can't, just think about this. For the next 4 years, you're just not going to have to make up stories. They're just naturally going to come out so you can all have a laugh when people say things about taking over Greenland and who knows, maybe we do. That's that crazy talk again. But anyway, moving on. The fires out in LA and all my California friends, I am so sorry that you are having fire problems. But let's face it, the cost of the fires is astronomical. And guess what? I'm going to pay for it. Oh my gosh. Why did Biden just go ahead and say, I'm going to pay for the fires in California? So I think you should just burn it all. No, I'm not going to go there. Don't burn it all down. Start all over. But anyway, sooner or later, we're not going to be able to afford the fires out in California, just like we can't afford the hurricanes down in Florida. Just maybe we're better off giving one to Mexico and one to Canada and let them deal with it. At least the Mexicans are coming across to help us put out the fires, and we greatly appreciate that. And I hope we are paying them to help us do it because they shouldn't be doing it for free. Maybe they are. Maybe they're trying to get in our good gracious so we don't annex them. I don't know. It is what it is. It's moving on, right? America's most livable cities. I saw this and I had to laugh. Portland, Maine. You ever been to Portland? Little snowy up there for me. Lincoln, Nebraska. You're out there with the corn. Yes. Des Moines, Iowa. You're not doing too much more about the corn than you're doing in Lincoln. Just throw that out. Minnesota. Minneapolis. Okay, Minneapolis. We're just going to go ahead and say, do you like snow? Do you like the cold? No? Okay, maybe not. Ann Arbor, Michigan. Nice place to visit in the summertime. Milwaukee, same thing. Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. Don't they have the most murders per capita? I didn't even look that one up. I'm just making that one up as I go. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yeah, where the rivers meet and everything. Yeah, never mind. Ever since the steel moved out, it might not be the place I want to live. Green Bay. That gets back to that snow and ice. I could just go down the list and look at all these places, and I'm going to say, maybe Colorado Springs, maybe Omaha. There's a lot more to do in Omaha than in Lincoln. I mean, there's Lincoln. I'm just, okay. Moving on, but definitely not Seattle, Washington. Just throw it out. Last week we talked about most satisfied airlines. Yes, we did. We talked about the most satisfied airlines, and I said Delta. Well, this week they show up and they say Delta on time. So 1.7 million flights, and they're on time 83.5, the highest out of any American airline. And you wonder why I like them, right? Just throw it out. That satisfaction really comes down to, are you actually getting there when they say that you're going to get there. Because in business travel, that was important to me. If I had an 8 o'clock meeting and my flight was landing at 6:30 in the morning, I want to get there. And yes, I would fly in on a Monday morning at 6:30, 7 o'clock. Actually, it was 7 o'clock. So I would fly out of here and I would get into LAX at 7 a.m. and be at the local distributor's shop at 8 o'clock, 8:30. I would stop and get a cup of coffee at Starbucks. And by the way, if you're not satisfied with the airlines, they'll just go ahead and kill you. Showing the stats of airline accidents. Just, again, a little humor, a little sarcasm there on that comment, okay? Just take it as it is. So GDP per capita of Singapore versus Western Europe. And I will tell you, I am a big fan of Singapore. Maybe one day my wife gets to visit. Maybe I get to go back and go out to the, I mean, it's an island, and then there's another little resort island, and there's a little gondola that goes in between the two. Oh my gosh, I can tell you the stories about the gondola shutting down and we had to catch a taxi. It was fun. Anyway, if you haven't been to Singapore, I'm not even going to get paid for this. Great place to visit. I should be like their spokesman for tourism, because Singapore is a great place to visit. Just throwing it out for conversations. You can get custom-made shirts and suits and everything else in Singapore, right there on Orange Street. Yes, great place. Satisfaction for computer brands. I use an Apple. Why do I use an Apple? Because it works. That's all I can say. It just works. Right? I've had HPs, I've had Dells. I had Dells with work. They work. Not as good as my Apple though. I'm just gonna say Apple. Yes. And my phone connects to it and it all kind of works together. Great product. Personal opinion, I like this. I just saw it and said, hey, I'll talk about Apple. No wonder Apple stock is doing so well. So look at this. Tech Titans fourth quarter. Ooh, doggy. So now you see where the rest of the S&P is and where the Tech Titans are. And literally, you're just sitting there going, holy cow. If it wasn't for the big seven, we would have had not such a great quarter, right? So there you go. And then the other one is Amazon and eBay. They were close there for a while, but yeah, Amazon destroying them. Which, by the way, it leads me to the whole thing. You can buy any of these books on Amazon. Links down below. They're good books, and you should always be reading, right? You should always be educating yourself and reading what others say. Don't have to always agree with them, but I like it. I mean, I have Stephen's book. I read Stephen's book. I try to do some kind of income investing, but I don't follow exactly how Stephen does, and Stephen doesn't follow what I do. That's just us. AI. Oh, dog. So AI is still not perfect. You know, sometimes you have to wonder about the AI. I mean, the thumbnail was an AI image from ChatGPT. Last couple have been an AI image. Not bad. I mean, I just go in, type what I want, and makes an image, and then I have to tell it landscape. But I've tried some of these. DeepSeek, not so much yet. So hopefully they get a little bit better over time, and eventually they will. And that is the scary part, because then you might not be needed. So fourth quarter, looking at the stocks again, Tesla, Broadcom, Eli Lilly. I was a little surprised to seeing that. Berkshire Hathaway down a little bit, but hey, you now see where everybody's lying compared to the markets. So take it as it is. This is to those corporate world people. I saw this and I had to laugh, because this is hopefully nobody's in HR. I don't care if you're in HR, because HR is a scam. Just throw it out. But they come up with this employee engagement, right? And ranking these companies. I mean, literally, Intel is on the list of best managed companies, and their stock stinks. Okay, we're just going to move off of Intel a little bit, but get back to that employee engagement survey. So when I was a corporate employee, I would make sure that I answered all the questions because I knew anything that I gave them a negative on, we were going to have a correction action and we were going to have a meeting about. So you don't think the employees figured that out after about year 2 or 3? So they decided, literally, there was a group, and eventually even our boss picked up on it going, I can see where this is going because you guys only want to talk about this. And that's exactly what we did. We actually got together and decided to do the group surveys together. Yes, we would have a conference call without the boss, do the survey together to make sure we answered together. Yes, yes, that's how bad we were as employees. We just were. Uh, but anyway, surveys, employee engagement surveys is another scam. They were great at the beginning, but honestly, that's how you're going to judge how your business is going. And employees are getting together so they can conspire against you. Just throw it out for conversations. And now I'm not employed, so what are you going to do? I'll probably never get employed again because they'll be like, oh, you can't hire that guy. He's not going to do the employee engagement. Okay, so markets went down on Friday because of jobs. And that's kind of important. So I went to the CBOE and grabbed their little Fed. And I think their Fed rate is a little bit lower than what it was. It was supposed to be at 97. They say it's 93. But obviously, I can tell you with the Fed coming up, they're not going to cut rates this month. Hopefully that wasn't a surprise. But I went out and I scoured around and I looked. It's not until June that they actually have some type of Fed cut rates. So probability is June right now, and that's not that bad. And there's a reason why that's not that bad. So don't think that the Fed rate cuts are good or bad, because we're going to talk about that in a later part of the presentation. All I'm going to say is the market is overreacting. So it's a buying opportunity. You should be DCAing in and not be fearful, because I showed you where my green line is. That is where it has to open up. And I don't see it opening up there anytime soon. So let's get into the week. Summary: markets experienced pressure on Fed's monetary policy. Yeah, okay, whatever. It dropped 1%. 1% and everybody's scared. You saw where my green line is. 10-year treasuries, notable increase, 4.74 for treasuries. This is why I'm not in TLTW anymore, because rate cuts should have caused the price to go up. But because of the increased reflection of concerns for inflation, the rates went up and the price went down. So you have to wait until that reverses. And that is something I'm still watching, but who knows? Who knows? Bitcoin sell-off. Gotta love Bitcoin. Buying opportunity. The floor is like $70,000 now. So you're going to see it go from 70,000 to, I don't know, 120, 150. Who cares? It still has the volatility, and we're still going to be able to make the income. And that's important. And I looked at that. I wanted to make sure that Bitcoin where I'm buying it at, it can go up or down. Remember, it's 8% off of my cost basis, not the current price. So it can go up and down. And due to the volatility, I can make sure that I can grab my 8%. And that's going to bring us to the next one with the Fed rate cuts and U.S. Bank Asset Manager. And I like how he says this. It's very important in understanding. Inflation is weaning, interest rates cuts are in motion, and earnings are trading. Gosh, I can't even speak. And this is why I don't do this on. they're trending higher, right? I mean, I can literally read this and it's like, so this is important. U.S. Bank Asset Management emphasized that inflation is weaning, and we know that, right? And interest rate cuts are in motion. Awesome. And earnings are trending higher. Yes, they're trending higher, and that's important. So why do rate cuts when earnings are trending higher? All of which bolsters sentiment of and provides stock valuation support. So guess what? This is telling me not to be fearful. That's what it comes down to. All this jabber jabber is don't be fearful. We're going to have pullbacks. We're going to have declines. But overall, nothing has physically changed structure-wise in the marketplace. So why panic? Quantum computers is coming. That's another whole hoopla, right? NVIDIA and Meta CEOs head up against, oh my gosh, it's another whole rigmarole. Quantum computing. And here's my thoughts. It's coming. It's coming. We should be aware of it. Maybe we want to invest in it. Maybe you want to invest a little bit into quantum computing. Nothing wrong with that. But betting the house? Probably not. But it's coming. It's another future. We're going to have AI, then quantum computing. So put it on your radar. And why do I say quantum computing might be something that you should be thinking about? Did you not buy QUBT like I told you to a couple weeks ago? Probably not. I'm only up 1,400%. If you would have known, you could have just retired, but you didn't know. But it's out there. It's probably going to go up and down. It's going to be very volatile. Brad's not putting his retirement on it, but it's something that you need to keep on your radar because hopefully one day we can capture that volatility and get some income off of it. Basic materials led the week. That's a shift. That's a shift from consumer discretionary, right? So is that a long-term shift or a short-term shift? You're going to have to continue to watch every week because I'll cover it. We're starting to see value stocks. They're starting to perform a little bit better than growth. Another interesting conversation, right? And is that just due to the value and market structure? Probably. And Bitcoin, of course, slides off, but you can definitely see the 2-year Treasury yield and the U.S. Dixie. As the Dixie and the Treasury yield goes up, you can see that Bitcoin and the S&P 500 futures go down. Precious metals, I don't know if you're into them. I'm going to say that I am not. Still don't plan on getting into them, but right now you can see year to date, which is only a couple weeks, right? You should have bought platinum. It's up 5%, better than the stock market. Talking about the stock market, and this is important for you to understand, we had a crushing year, 23% for the year. That's not bad. Higher than the average of 7.9. You can look at that chart and figure out what you want out of that chart. But basically, if you're looking at that chart, we're up at the upper end compared to where the averages are. Now, I will tell you, more recent, because of the monetary policy, that 9.8 is really about 11%. That's just the monetary policies. So at the end of the day, I don't think that we should be worrying. I think that, at least for me, my income is slow and steady. I don't have anything to worry about. I have to have a huge drop, bigger than the pandemic. And I think that should be said. So we closed down the United States. So we shut it down. And we do it for months. And guess what? It would take something bigger than that to make me go get a job. And that's how I'm structured. That's how I structured it out. It is what it is, and hopefully you're thinking about how you're structuring it, especially the last 5 years. So 5 years to retirement. You should be slowly taking off risk and looking at an income investing. Because I would tell you, I wish I would have had a little more time before I pulled the plug and went 100% into income. I wish I would have been able to work another 6 months. But you know what? I could have worked, but I would have drove myself crazy doing it. So why? Why should I? I just need to get out and do what I want to do and go see the countryside and enjoy retirement while I still can. Until next time, God bless. So you stuck around. I see that. No new nuggets. Escol, next 2 weeks, I bet I'm going to sell that and move it into something else. That I'm not happy with their structure. They're grasping for straws, and maybe we get out and watch it over the next 4 or 5 months to see what happens. Maybe we move back in, but right now I think they're having structural problems, and I think it's due to the VIX, and I think they have a lack of focus because the portfolio manager that I got to talk to wasn't even in charge of that one. They were in charge of another one, but he was the original portfolio manager. So you sit back and go, I think there's a little lack of focus, and I think they got a little caught out. But anyway, have a great weekend. And if you are watching this any other day than on Sunday, enjoy your week. Hopefully you're not at a JOB. Until next time, God bless.